must tune in. He's ironic, iconic, maybe bionic. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Genius. He's a genius.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Burhan, he's Oliver Hughes.
How you doing?
And this is our review of WatchDogs. Now we're basically reviewing this game because we've done a huge Let's Play of it. Ollie actually brought the game down to me quite recently from a shop called For Your Eyes Only. It's basically a rental place down in London, South East region, in Forest Hill. The shop itself, basically we rented the game for, I believe it was £8 for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was about that. Yeah,
about £8 for 2 weeks. So we wanted to give the game a good try because we honestly didn't want to play the game, didn't want to buy the game. Otherwise,
we didn't want to do a quick play because we've heard good things about it.
Yeah, so it kind of had a mixed bag. We've had good and positive and negative from it. A lot of people, most of the complaints is that the game isn't truly next gen. We've done a playthrough of it, so we're going to give you our opinions. Now, first let's talk about story. Story is basically Aiden Pierce ends up getting himself involved in a situation where he ends up hacking a large, it's like casino, wasn't it? Like a sort of a casino.
No, it's like a big, it was
a big hotel chain, and ends up getting away with a bit of data.
And like I think it's like £180,000 worth or dollars worth of cash.
Yeah, and what happens is the individual responsible ends up putting a hit on him. He ends up getting his car shot down, and his daughter ends up / niece ends up getting killed in the accident. So he goes on this whole sort of revenge thing. He ends up getting his sister and his nephew involved in the situation. They get kidnapped. He ends up getting friends, loved ones kidnapped and killed, and he ends up like going around tying up loose ends. Now, there's a lot of things that we can say about this game in terms of the story and structure. It didn't make sense. It seemed like a complete and utter clusterfuck. The reason being is that his character and the sister Nikki, she seemed more like his wife. It looks like the way they did the diagrams, the way they did the models, they had them set up as sort of an ex-husband and wife sort of thing.
Early script was I can guarantee you speak to anyone who's played it. Early script, there was they were definitely husband and wife.
Yeah,
and he had 2 children. He'd lost his little girl.
Yeah, it seemed very, very incesty. In a sense,
the models were very. They looked at each other, the way they like held each other, and the way they had to keep reiterating, like, "Oh, you're my little sister. Oh, you're my big brother."
Yeah. Another thing with the story was it kind of dragged on. You had certain elements that they added extra characters into the story who didn't need to do anything, who were useless.
Yeah, we talk about characters.
Yeah, you had the structure of the story was all wrong. The pacing, like at the first act, it kind of drawn out. We took us a whole entire day to complete the first act.
Yeah, and then the second act.
Then the second act took like 2 extra days.
Yeah, that felt like it never ended. It was just mission after mission after mission, and then suddenly it was like, oh, it's the third act. Oh my god, finally.
Yeah, and then when the third act happened, you had basically the pacing kind of changed. It got quicker, and then the fourth act, and then the fifth act was literally just one mission.
Yeah, the fourth act snapped through like that because it was really fast paced.
Yeah,
and heavily story driven. Again, story wasn't great, but it was story driven.
Yeah, it was supposed to be story driven, but the story itself just seemed way off pace. Now let's go on to the characters a little bit. Talk about Aiden Pierce. They try to make him an anti-hero. They try to make him Batman.
Yeah, very, very much Batman. They give him the voice of Batman sometimes.
Yeah,
he got the.
He was talking like this half the time.
Yeah, and when he come across bad guys, he'd be like, "You're going to be scared of me."
Yeah, I got information.
Yeah, they tried to make him an anti-hero. Well, he's called the Vigilante in it. He's meant to be this.
Well, they called him the Fox Vigilante or something.
Yeah,
like
they call him the Fox at the end, but he's like he's the Vigilante. He's obviously meant to be a Batman character. He's meant to be. I don't know, because the Batman is what he does what the police can't, whereas this guy isn't.
He steals.
Yeah, you can check people's money out, and then go to the ATM. All your money in the game comes from other people.
Yeah, you steal money off targets. Then he like takes money off bad guys that he kills. Then he takes money like from bad guys who he ends up stealing data from. He steals cash from them as well. He takes money out of cars. He's not a good guy.
No, I mean, not even just the...
He has no morals.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the game, they keep trying to...
oh, look.
all the characters are like, oh, you've got such a strong moral compass. Oh, you're all this. And nothing he does says he has a moral compass. There is a point in the game where you basically have to infiltrate a sex slave auction. So you have to kind of take the identity of one of the VIPs. So my logical thought would be, okay, you've got the hacking ability, take his a bit kind of identity, and then Aiden Pierce goes, oh, but what if he comes along? It's like, oh, fair enough, tie him up, hand him over to the police, do whatever you need to. And Aiden Pierce goes, no, we have to kill him because he might expose us. It's like, well, okay, yes, the guy's a scumbag. He's in sex trafficking.
There's certain questionable moments.
Yeah, who are you to say you can kill him?
And this is another thing about this game. It's supposed to be a moral compass. It has a good and bad element to it. It tries to do what Dishonored does really well. It doesn't do that. There's no good and bad. It's just all bad.
Yeah, and it's not even gives you the choice to be good and bad. Yeah. He is just an asshole. He kills people. He steals from people. He gets his family involved because people openly know who his sister and his son and his nephew is. Yeah, and he punishes people far too vigorously.
Yeah.
For really minor slights on him.
Yeah. He even lets people go who are very, very questionable. Like the one of the guys who he uses as an informant, Bedbug, the guy ends up nearly getting killed because he's going to do a mission for him, and the guy does it badly, and he has to go back in there and do the mission to get the data that he needs.
Yeah, and that Bedbug guy, he literally, to get him to kind of turn on his boss, you have to find blackmail information, which is
and blackmail him.
Yeah, and blackmail him. So he's doing this against his will.
Yeah. It's extremely. There's no grey area. It's black. This guy is an ass.
Yeah, and you actually say to yourself in internal monologue, "Oh, I hope I don't get him killed."
He monologues.
Like, you know that you're risking this guy. You're blackmailing him to risk his life.
And the monologues in this game, oh my god, too many fucking monologues. He does more monologues than Shakespeare.
Yeah, and you can't do anything in the game. Like, it's not like it will be a video monologue. You will be able to control your character, so you'll be able to drive around, run around, whatever you need to. But until the monologue is over, there will be no marker on the map to where to go. So you literally are running around in circles until...
And there's a lot of too much questionable behaviour going on from him and from everybody else in the game. There are certain people that he treats like shit. He's sexually aggressive.
Yeah, he's unnecessarily sexually
aggressive.
Aggressive. He's
you've got his former partner in there as well, Damien, who treats him like he's his jilted boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, Damien basically was the guy at the beginning when the job went bad.
We did such good things together.
And then he calls up and goes, "I need your help," and then Pierce goes, "No, you gave me." Damien goes, "Oh, here's some information that you might need. Can you help me?" He's like, "No, I'll take the information, but I'm going to go do it myself." It's like, what?
He's a dick. He's a
proper dick. But then you find out Damien is just as much as a dick because
but Damien ends up like a jilted girlfriend. He kidnaps his sister.
He kidnaps his sister, and he keeps saying "Oh, we were so good together."
He kills the girl that Aiden looks like he's sexually molesting half the time. Who's like one of the hackers? Is it Clara?
Clara, yeah. So this Damien character, he becomes the main enemy
when he's not even the main.
But he's not the main. He had nothing to do. The story is a revenge story, but he had nothing to do with the original killing.
Yeah, and he had his hands clean. He never did anything wrong, and then suddenly he ends up doing certain things that were wrong to get back at Aiden, and it made no sense whatsoever. Yeah. It's not in his nature. At the beginning of the game, the guy doesn't have this sort of nature, but they kind of force it on him to make him the lead villain.
And because it's an RPG-based game, you kind of upgrade your skills and your hacking abilities, and to counterbalance that,
they just over fucking powered him.
They make him into basically a hacking god.
Yeah, super hacker 5000.
Yeah, stuff that you needed specialists. But you had to go at one point in the story. You had to go and hunt this old retired hacker that has been off the map for many years and no one knows where he is, and there's loads of missions to actually find out where he is. this Morgan guy just goes, I'm better than him, and just overpowers his thing. And it's like, what?
And this is the thing as well. He has all these different hackers working for him, and who are hacking basically certain things for him. And then suddenly he just ends up doing it himself. And you're like, well, if you're doing this all yourself, then why the fuck, did you need anybody else? Why did I just go and kill a guy called Iraq? Why did I go after a guy called Default, who were obviously working for you, but now you can do it all yourself? It's like, what the fuck is going on?
So he was a very weird character.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also a group called DedSec in it, who's meant to be a
vigilante anti-hero group, like something similar to V Vendetta.
Yeah. Like we will hack the government, get all the saucy information, and spread it because we need freedom of information. Which is, do you know what? I would have liked the game to kind of focus more on that.
They turned them into villains.
They were just pricks, and the thing is, you didn't get much of them. You'd get the odd. You'd be running around and a big TV screen will have their message on it saying "Don't trust the government" or something. But one of the members who you're constantly contacting is called Bad Boy.
Yeah.
Really early in the game, just gives up all of her kind of anonymity and just goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, my name's Clara," and then you start really angrily flirting with her.
Yeah.
And she,
it's like shoving aggressiveness, pinning her up against walls, and you're just like, it makes you really awkward.
If that was his character, fair enough.
Yeah.
But that's not his character. He's only like that with her.
Yeah. And then you get loads of these different scenarios. There's characters that get thrown in there.
But yeah, Clara's not even that. She's very two-dimensional. She's very wooden. She doesn't even seem like a good hacker. It doesn't seem like she'd be part of this DedSec group.
Yeah, and then suddenly her information gets leaked that she basically was one of the reasons why everything unfolded the way that it did.
Yeah, a really obvious point where she's like, oh no, she was the one who betrayed you. It's like, well, you saw that coming a while ago. She seemed untrustworthy.
Yeah. The characters are very, very badly written.
She was, very low cut top, which I have no problem with, but it was clearly there to sell her as she's clearly more important because she's a sex object.
Yeah, and you don't have most of the women in the game are sex objects. There's no
strong female characters, none at all.
Yeah, they try to paint her as a strong female character, and then everyone has this whole cyberpunk thing going on. Yet the rest of the world looks like they're just normal average Joes for 9 to 5 work and stuff.
It is almost like the Matrix, where all of the main characters are.
But it's like they're cosplaying.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like the Matrix was kind of like that. All of the main characters are wearing all these big long cloaks and really out of place to normal reality. That's what this was like. All of the main characters looked out of place.
It just looked like they were cosplaying, and everybody else out in the streets were like, "Oh my god, this guy!" Because it's like the vigilante, for instance, Aiden's character, running around there, and he's the only one who looks the way he does. So I would look at him and go, "That's the vigilante over there," because
he looks very suspicious.
I could pick him out of a crowd, especially with his camo gear.
Yeah, and his baseball cap that he's got, and a big long trench coat. It's like,
and a scarf over his face.
Yeah, it's the middle of the summer, dude.
Yeah, it's stuff like that where you just look at it and think, what the hell is going on in this?
But yeah, I mean, what other characters there was?
There was loads of disposable characters.
Yeah,
you had, like as I said, Bedbug. You had the hooker at the whorehouse. I don't even know what her name was.
Yeah, you basically get yourself into this sex auction thing.
You save like a random hooker.
You save a random hooker, and then you can say, "Oh, I need to see her personally," and and that's fine, and let you in. But you meet up with her. She goes, "Oh, okay, I get the other girls out," and then
that's it. You don't hear from her again.
Yeah, you never hear him again.
Same goes for Bedbug. Don't hear from him again.
No, he gets caught by his boss.
Yeah,
gets thrown out of a window. And remember,
miraculously survives.
Yeah, remember, you blackmailed him into this. He's now been caught and almost murdered.
And
what would be the logical thing for him to do? What, call you up and warn you and give you a bit more information? No! He has no loyalty to you.
Yeah.
You think he's dead.
It makes no sense. And there's a lot of times as well where he's like people who are working with him are asking what the hell's going on. And he's just like, I don't need to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not telling you. Like his sister's constantly like, why are we running from the police? He's like, I'm not telling you. It's like, can we not just go to the police?
And everybody accepts it as well, which bugs the hell out of me. It's like 1 minute they're getting angry about it, next minute like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. I mean, you've got
another
character, another hacker, the legendary hacker that no one can find. He finds quite easily.
Yeah, 5 minutes he finds him.
So he finds him. He's really pissed off with the main character for a little while, and then he's fine with him.
They make friends, yeah.
They make friends with him. There's a there's a really good character. He's easily my favourite character. Geordie. He's basically a mercenary.
But he basically makes no bones about that he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's like, do you know what?
I do what I do for the job.
I do what I do for the job. If you pay me, I will kill a load of... Because at one point, you're trying to sneak into a building, and he's like, oh, I thought this would all be like young gangbangers. They seem to be military. I'm fine with that. He was happy to go and kill a load of young gangbangers just because you're paying him.
And he does bring a huge comedy element to it sometimes as well. There's like this bit where he brings an ice cream truck and goes, yeah, I've got your explosives for you. Oh, can you do me a favour and just burn these bodies for me? Yeah, they were just trying to run me off the road, so I just put 2 caps into their head. And he's like, no, I can't do that. Yeah, you can. You know, I've been doing some stuff for you. Go on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he's really just like, he will turn on you if someone paid him more, and if you paid him more, he'd turn back on.
I would love to see a more enjoyable element with that guy in the game.
Yeah, he was really good. And then there was
he was fun to be around, and it'd be nice to have that because he's kind of the kind of the character that turns on you, but you knew he was going to. Because I had 2 characters pegged that were going to turn on him anyway, which was one was Clara, the other one was Rudy. And it's kind of the way that the stories are playing out. I just was like, yep, she's going to turn on him. He's going to turn
the way she turned on him was stupid. The way he turned on him
was the way he usually does.
Yeah, he's just like,
he paid me more.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, right. You're in this gun battle. It's me and him against this other person, and he just turns the gun on you and goes, oh, he offered me more. It's like, at that point, I had massive respect for him. I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah. And the fact is, and he's like, he always says that, and you act like you've got a moral compass, you don't. So, you know.
Yeah, all the way through the game, everyone's going, oh, we can respect your moral compass to the main character.
Yeah, he's just like, no. Yeah, he's like, you act like you're all this high and mighty. He goes, your first problem is you get too emotional about things. It's a job, just do it. That's it. You know.
And, well, last major / minor character, and we feel that he's going to have more in the future, was, what's his name? The mouse.
Oh, Default.
Basically, they mention him briefly.
They modelled him on Deadmau 5.
Yeah, they basically just said like, oh, there's another hacker out there, but he's a bit of a hack. Called Default, but we're not going to use him. And then you go through all this information, all of this huge missions to get this information. You kill like loads of bosses, and
he was unneeded.
Yeah, and then as soon as you get it, remember, you have this super hacker on your team, this T-Bone, who has personally built this underground kind of facility. As soon as you get the information, this Deadmau character goes along and goes, oh yeah, I'm going to take that. And just hacks your system, uploads a virus, wipes your thing, and
then sells Clara out as well.
Yeah. Sells her out, so now you have to turn on her.
Yeah, it made no sense.
Yeah, you follow him, you finally track him down, and he gets away. He abandons his car, and that's all you ever hear from him.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and then let's move on to sort of like the story, the structure of the story, everything that happens in terms of the missions. There was a lot of pointless shit that you have to do in this game that you don't need to do. It's like missions repeat themselves for no reason, just to pan the game out. So, you know, we'll work on the positives and negatives now of the game. So the negatives is one, the game tends to pan itself out a bit too much. In terms of the mechanics of the game, there's a lot of very dodgy mechanics that this game has. The hacking tools are great. The gun tools are great once you start adapting them. In terms of the car mechanics are very shoddy. You know, they're very slow, the cars are clunky, and the game itself is glitchy. You know, there's certain times where you're gonna focus on the camera and you end up focusing on an enemy, or you're trying to do something and shoot someone and you can't fucking shoot them because you end up putting your gun back in your pocket and then someone ends up killing you.
Yeah.
Or where you're going to use the combat mechanic and I'm stuck and I'm hitting the B button, getting ready to hit someone, and the guy blows my brains out.
Yeah, there are a load of kind of. I mean, but you're bound to come across small things.
Yeah.
It's just that there were certain things like it had the Gears of War kind of stick to walls.
Yeah.
And you can run along walls and hide around things. But
I love the way they said that they're trying to sell parkour in this game. Oh, you can do parkour. No, you can't.
You can run across things, but not everything.
Yeah.
And
the parkour is very shoddy.
Yeah. But I mean, like I was saying, the sticking to things is very much you stick, but every now and again your character will just unstick and stand up, even if you're in a firefight.
Bang.
and then you just get shot, and it will restart all the way, like back. Sometimes it restarts right at the back of the level, and you're right at the end. You're like, that stupid mechanic just made me lose 20 minutes.
One of the worst things about the game as well is its loading times. The loading times, literally, we played 21 hours in terms of the game itself.
21 hours, 22 hours worth of game, just straight story. We didn't do any side.
5 hours of that was loading times.
Easy.
Yeah. And this was like the story mode, and the reason why it was so long for us is because we tried to do it more of the espionage style, sort of sleuthing type of, getting the grips with it. We weren't going in there killing everybody and just getting through the level.
Yeah, because we're doing our playthroughs, so we'd like to.
We like to look at everything. I'm kind of the shoot guy. Ollie's more kind of the guy who likes to do things at a slow pace.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to sort of the positives. Because we've slagged it off a little bit. Negatives. The positives, what do you think?
The fight mechanic is one of the big positives. Ollie was actually saying about it. It's one thing that I actually kind of got turned around on. Because at first I was kind of like, oh, this is shit. It's kind of something similar to what you see in Arkham City and Arkham Origins. But it's very easy. It's like you can use the B button and you'll end up taking someone down very easily. You've got like the guns. You could do things with certain guns where if you go press the B button to take someone down, you could put the gun on the back of their head and shoot them and stuff. It's really well done.
There's really nice little animations. It's not all the same. You attack, you snap their neck. You attack, you hit them. It's you attack. If you're carrying different weapons, you do different execution styles. You do different baton attacks.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about that. And then you've also got you've got a huge selection of guns as well to use. And it's very innovative in the way that you can take enemies out. You don't have to use a gun. You can use an IED. You can use a bomb. You can use basically like part of the surroundings to take enemies out, because the way that surroundings are laid out, you have certain traps that are in the surroundings that you can use to take enemies out. So you don't have to do it one way, you can do it another. So it did have a lot of the missions that you play were very technical in a sense. So you had a lot of puzzles to play with. I like puzzles. I found that was more my thing in comparison. I wasn't a fan of more of the kind of you've got to go in here and you've got to shoot this guy and you've got to hack into the system. I like the hacking puzzles. I was a fan of the leading one person from A to B, where you're using the camera and you can lead someone in and out of a building to try and get them to safety. I liked the animations of the characters. I did actually like the graphics. It was great for this gen, not an next gen thing. Sorry, but it was good for this gen. There was a few issues that I had where you would have animations where they weren't even moving their mouths. They'll be like that, and it's
you can accept happen now and again, but it happened quite a few times, and it's through it wasn't just minor animations; it was major plot point animations, which they should.
The game seemed really rushed in terms of that.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that you could manipulate certain elements like bridges, blast up potholes, and burst pipes and stuff like that in order to get enemies in cars to sort of side off the road. I liked elements where you could outrun the police. Apart from the fact then I found out that all you need to do was jump in a lake.
Yeah, jump in water, swim away, and the police give up on you.
Yeah. So that's the easiest way you can get through the game. But it had some promising elements. Also, the online hacking system they had as well gives you some extra time. The game has a lot of gameplay, including side missions, but it does get repetitive because when you play through one mission, you have to play through that same mission again probably about 2 or 3 times. But yeah, it's again, it's got a lot of positive features. Some negatives. In terms of the negatives and positives, the negatives kind of outweigh the positives in a sense, but there is still a lot of good stuff here for those people who want to plough through it and give the game a good go. So what about you?
I mean, again, the redeeming factor on this game is the combat. I really, really like the combat because my style of combat is straight up sneaking. I will stay even out of, because there's certain red areas on the map that if you go into it says you are entering a restricted area.
Yeah.
At that point the enemies start kind of, if they see you they'll attack you. If you're outside that, if they see you they just tell you to go away.
Yeah.
So you can sit outside and as long as you can see a camera, you can hack it and you can see what the camera sees, and then move it around. And if you can see another camera, you can then hack that. So you can basically move around the level via cameras.
Yeah.
You can then look at a car and set the car alarm off to draw some enemies that way and sneak around, or
sometimes you don't even have to get into a building to basically...
Yeah, you can clear an entire building out. You can lure people by lifting a forklift up, and they go, oh, what's that? They wander over, and they walk over like something that has explosive panel in the floor, or an explosive panel on the wall, and then you just blow it up, and you
But
kill
even
them.
with this, though, it does get a bit glitchy, because we've had times where we've tried to lure someone away from, say, like when we were doing a lead-along mission with his sister, and they wouldn't, and then as soon as she goes over to one side, everyone migrates over and starts fucking shooting at her and killing her.
It's a little bit. I would say the combat AI is very good. The enemies work as a team. They try and flank you.
They've called more enemies in.
Yeah, if they feel that they're getting overpowered, certain enemies have the ability to call reinforcements in, which is a hacking ability that you can stop later on. You can disable that. But
I do like the upgrading the mechanics as well. The RPG elements where you can actually craft, you can upgrade certain elements, including weapons, hacking skills and stuff.
That's
like
what I mean.
that.
Like, for instance, you like to use explosives, bombs. You would throw a bomb, blow someone up, pop up, shoot them in the head. Whereas what I would do is I create a lure, which basically you throw, and then you hack it, and it makes a little noise. Now people go and investigate, and I'd sneak up and take the person down silently.
Yeah.
So I would take an entire area out silently, whereas you would take them out as loud as you can.
Yeah, as long as I got the job done.
But then both have really positive and really negative. My way takes forever.
Another
but you
reason why the
avoid
gameplay is a bit long for us.
Yeah, you avoid because I did. You avoid normally avoid the reinforcements. And you normally avoid them calling in like heavily armoured enemies, which are a bitch to take out.
Yeah.
Whereas your way, you will get reinforcements straight away. But the thing is, once you get reinforcements, they won't call anymore.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here. In terms of the game, it's got a lot of wealth. It's got a lot of good things that you can do with it as well. In terms of game time, you've got there's probably about say 20 to even 40 hours of gameplay,
And that's just straight story.
and not just story. Story you're looking at probably about 10 to 15 hours. But in terms of like side quests, in terms of like the fun missions, like the spider missions and the other side stuff that we did, in terms of hacking missions and stopping criminals and stuff like that, you can do it. If you're a completionist, you'll have a lot to do. The problem about this game as well, though, it's once that game's done, you won't pick it back up again.
Yeah.
There's no replay value at all.
Do you know what? Honestly, it felt like a prologue for the second game.
Yeah, it like they wrapped everything up at the end after the game was finished in a neat little package, so they can lead it up to the second game. It didn't fit. It felt forced.
They brought DedSec in as a major character, saying how pissed off they warned the world and
That
now
they're
they're going
gonna
to punish
retaliate.
everyone.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Deadmau5 5 character.
He's going to be probably.
He's probably going to be in because obviously unless they just brought him in for no reason.
Yeah.
There's
a few characters in there that you look at, you probably think you're going to probably see them again. But in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the way that the game worked at the moment, we were kind of disappointed. I was. I've been waiting since the PlayStation 4's release to get this game.
I was never really that. I was excited about the game, but I thought, do you know what? I'm going to rent it. I'm not going to pay like 40 quid.
I was excited since E3 2013. And it, when you're, as I said in 2013, Ubisoft was one of the best game companies in that conference. Out of them and EA and like all the other press
I think
conferences.
a lot of people are hating
Miami.
EA at the moment.
But
hating Ubisoft.
At the moment they are, because they made some very questionable decisions. But we're not laying this review on that.
No,
we're laying the review based on the game
but
itself.
I think, WatchDogs itself has got a few negative reviews because people's just biased opinion.
Yeah. In our terms of our opinion, we're trying to look at it from
we don't care who it's made by.
We just for me it seemed like a very promising game. It was hyped up because of the hacking mechanic and because you were this vigilante and you were going after people because they've done something wrong, and you're basically acquiring data on them so you could shop it to the police, sort of thing. So you could open it and
it
leak it
ended
to the
up
world.
being you were going after people for
It was a
very
totally
petty
different game.
things.
Yeah, it was a totally different game. And the majority of the game is based on pettiness.
And you could still,
And your own follies, man. He fucking stole money from a fucking mafia boss. Fuck's sake.
And you know what? And the thing that really kind of made me feel bad is you could hack nearly anyone, and basically after you find out how much they got in their bank account, you can go to the ATM and withdraw all their money. Some people are like an unemployed mother of three with like £500 in their account. You could go to the bank and just take that out, and I'm just like, I feel bad for this NPC.
Yeah, and the fact is that the character himself, Aiden, there's no layers to him. He has no remorse. He just seems like a bad guy.
Until right at the end.
No, not even at the end. At the end, he tries to redeem him.
Oh yeah, right at the end, we were sitting there going...
I mean, you're expected to have a big boss battle payoff. There's no boss battle payoff at the end. It's kind of like 1, 2, 3, done.
Yeah, you meet up, you have another monologue.
Yeah, there's a battle at this lighthouse that literally seems like the ending for Dishonored.
And you're like, oh, a lighthouse battle where there's going to be a boss, there's going to be...
With Dishonored, though, in order to actually complete that segment, you had to think. You had this sort of power that you could use, and you sort of teleport your essence into this rat who had a bomb attached to it. Yeah. And the rat goes onto the lever and then blows him up, and then he falls off the tower. That's got credit for that. This is not even that. It's just like, you see it, push one button, it's over.
Yeah, but no, I do give the credit. You can run and gun, which makes the game quite hard, or you can think. That's what I tried to do. You can go out of your way, because some of the
but it pitches the whole moral compass thing, which this game doesn't have.
It keeps trying to say that how strong his morals are, how they chose him because he's so morally straight.
Yeah, and the funny thing, even at the end, it gives you an option at the end after the epilogue.
Yeah, after he then tries to think to himself, actually, what right do I have to judge people? Who am I to think? Right at the end, you kind of
go... you do this now?
You go back to the person you've held captive the entire game and tortured. Well, Geordie has, on your behalf.
Who are you paying him to do it?
You're paying this guy to... Right at the beginning, you meet this guy who killed your niece/daughter. So you're holding him for the entire game, torturing him. Right at the end, he's petrified of you, and then you have the choice to walk away or execute him because... who am I to have the right? It's like, that's so out of character. You would straight up execute him. So we did.
Yeah.
We're not going to break character.
It was like walk away or shoot him. Like, shoot him. There's no point.
There was no knock him out and hand him over to the police.
There was no objectiveness in this, and that's the big thing about the game. There's no objectiveness at all. There's even a moral bit at the end where you're fighting with the main boss, and you could either choose to shoot him in the head or shoot him in the leg. I shot him in the head. I was like, I don't want to listen to you.
Yeah. And there's another point where the main, like the big mafia boss guy, a bit of a spoiler here, he's behind bulletproof glass. He's like, you can't get me. You look at him, it says recent heart surgery, and then you conclude
brings up a little button,
that he has a pacemaker. So you go, I'm going to give you a heart attack. And you just give this old man a heart attack. Yes, he's a mafia boss, but you just killed this old man, and you're like, you actually say, you monologue afterwards, I know I should feel empty and hurt by this, but I don't.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like they're trying to pad this character out, and they've just got there is no padding whatsoever. And let's go straight to basically our scores for this, because again, graphically it looked great.
For this generation,
for an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 type game. Mechanic wise, it had some good mechanics, had some bad mechanics. Story and structure were terrible. The pacing was god awful.
Yeah, they massively rushed through certain parts, and then they dragged other parts.
Yeah, and then they had to freaking make up for the story at the end in the epilogue. Where they were like, oh, by the way, this is going on, and by the way, this is going on, and by the way, this has happened.
Yeah, they introduced like DedSec, and they introduced the main kind of government organisation that kind of runs all the technology that you actually hack into. At the end, it introduces them as... Like, they could have thrown that at the beginning of the game to introduce who this kind of Uber corporation is.
Yeah. They basically, there's no ifs or buts about it.
No backstory to anything.
So you get all the stuff, it's all sort of piled in under a neat little package. Again, as I said, you've got a lot of playtime going on there. There's a lot to play with. You've got a great hacking tool on there. They've got a lovely, sort of fighting mechanic on there. In terms of the rest of the game, though, I'm not pleased with it. I think it's a big letdown for me, and no replay value. I give it a 6 out of 10. Ollie, what about yourself?
I would give it again, no replay value. Bad driving mechanics. There are even like boss battles where you're
There weren't even boss battles.
Yeah, there was basically you were a truck, or you were a car, or any vehicle you could find, and you were trying to take down a fire engine. It's like, what?
Yeah, and you couldn't even take it down because the thing was like a Sherman tank.
Yeah, it would just barge through everything because of the thing. So the driving was awful.
And the police harassing you.
The police were harassing you rather than the big fire truck massacring innocent people.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that just seemed very hypocritical about the game. It seemed very rushed. It just didn't seem like the game that it was just being sold as, in a sense.
So the combat was good. I mean, I like the fact that there were different variations of enemy. There were different levels and difficulties of enemies. The enemies were quite smart. Yeah. You were able to do each mission multiple ways, which was nice. Apart from the driving, which was exactly... If you look at our playthroughs, there are some missions we take 20 or 25 times to do because it's such a linear... Go here, chase this guy. Oh, he's called him back up. They get in the way. That's all it is. They get slightly in the way and he drives off.
We literally had to end some Let's Play videos because... we were basically had to go from point A to point B, and that was the majority of the mission.
Yeah. So I would, and the fact that they tried to, they had good storytelling at the end, which annoyed me because it felt like they could have had good storytelling.
It's just like they were just doing it just so they could set up the sequel.
Exactly. So it felt like they were lazy in their story. The driving wasn't great. The combat was awesome. I really did like the combat. So. Overall, I give it a meh, so about a 5 out of 10, 4.5, 5. No replay value. The online wasn't great. So, again, what would you say? Buy brand new, buy pre-owned after a couple of months, or rent?
My opinion: rent first, and if you really want to buy it, buy pre-owned. The reason being, the £40 price tag that this game is worth at the moment, I wouldn't buy it for. Because it just doesn't seem... Yeah, you've got 40 hours of gameplay, but then afterwards you can't pick the game back up. When I buy games, I buy them from longevity. Like GTA 5 I purchased for £50, special edition, and I've got a ton of replay value. I'm still not halfway through this game.
We're not at all comparing the two games, because they are... GTA 5 has had multiple sequels to polish. It's a brilliant game. It's polished.
It gives you a lot more in a sense, where this game kind of doesn't. The only thing that can probably draw you to it is the hacking mechanic, and it does get old quickly. The missions get very, very repetitive.
Yes. Even the side missions, even the fun things. There's you control a giant mechanical spider with the ability to blow up whatever you like. You're like, cool. And it's you level up your spider faster the more you destroy. You're like, oh my god, this sounds like an absolute massacre. There's other missions where you just have to run people over. There's other ones where you just have to sneak up and kill everyone. There's these little kind of side missions where it's just like, oh my god, these are this part of the game amplified into a whole mini game.
It's awesome.
It gets very, very tedious.
I was watching him play through a couple of them when I was doing a Slamcast yesterday.
And I love the whole sneak. Takedown, sneak takedown, never fire a shot. I finished most of the game without firing shots.
Yeah, he enjoyed it, but then I got
to the point where I was like, enter, quit. They didn't even let you end the thing. I had to physically quit it because I was that annoyed with it.
Yeah. But that's it, guys, and that's our score on that. If you agree with us, let us know. Leave a comment. If you don't, as always, guys, just basically let me and Ollie know what you're thinking. And this has been Michael Burham, this is Oliver Hughes.
Hello.
And you can also see us on I Got Gameplay, of course, with our co-hosts, and this is us just saying that we've got gameplay.
Have you?
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.